Here's your news for January 15th, 2019. We've got some big news to start off today, as David Benoit, the son of former world champion Chris Benoit, has spoken about his father. Fans will know that in 2007, Chris murdered his wife Nancy and their other son Daniel before taking his own life, and now David has spoken to Chris Van Vliet about what happened. In the interview, David said he found it difficult to comprehend such a heavy matter, and while he at first thought it was a joke, he didn't appreciate some of the manner in which it was covered. He said, "The news was non-stop. It was either about steroids, or that Nancy Grace joke. It was terrible, man. I couldn't even walk around. I didn't go to or finish school. I was 14 or 15. I didn't finish my finals. I finished high school, but just not that year. I thought it was a joke when I first found out. I was in Edmonton doing a fundraising thing with my sister. My mom got a call from RCMP telling her to come down to Georgia. My mom told me. My grandfather, Chris's father, went down to Georgia. He was in control of it. My mom couldn't do it because she had to take care of me and my sister. He was in control of the estate and the lawyers." David Benoit went on to say how he thought it was a cruel joke when he was told what happened, and even punched a cop before the truth set in. He said, "I punched a cop. I punched him right in the chest. I thought it was a joke. I really did. I just didn't believe it, bro. I think the day it really hit me was at his funeral. That was a hard day. I laid him to rest." Chris Benoit's life and death drew a lot of intrigue, and at one point, there was even a movie called Crossface in development about the crippler's life. German director Lexi Alexander was brought on for the project, and though filming should have started in 2016, David revealed that the film won't be made, saying, "There was a director, everything, bro. We had to step in because they wanted to do the tragedy about how it all went down. So we said no. They needed our permission. She sent us the script, and then the end was the whole murder-suicide was all going to be in it. We said no." David said that he has no idea how a director got attached to the rejected project, but after they got a lawyer involved, it got shut down. Though this film was terminated, David said he isn't opposed to showing his father in a different light, saying, "I have so many home videos, and perhaps one day that film will be made." In the interview, David said he doesn't consider the man who committed these acts to be his father, commenting on how CTE, a neurodegenerative disease caused by repeated head injuries, meant that the former superstar wasn't thinking like himself. David said, "That wasn't him, man. He would never do that. I know he wouldn't. I think something went terribly wrong. The doctor said he had CTE. At the beginning, that somewhat gave me closure. He had CTE, so I don't think that was him." Though police ruled the case a double murder-suicide, some people still have conspiracy theories about what happened, though David quickly shot down the idea that Kevin Sullivan was responsible, saying the police investigated him. He said, "Conspiracy theories are just a joke. Kevin Sullivan didn't do anything, you know? We looked into that and never had the police look into him. So yeah, I didn't want to believe it. I thought someone broke into the house or some shit and did it, but apparently there was a scuffle at the door. That's what I heard." According to David, it took him over a half a year to accept what had happened. As he told Van Vliet, "It took me 7 months. I was sitting there thinking. I thought about it every day. Why? Couldn't he have left a note, or could he have called me?" Benoit's death and actions were a hard blow for the wrestling industry, as he had deep connections in the wrestling world that are still being felt today. If there is a silver lining to what happened, Benoit's death caused a lot of people to pay more attention to concussions and CTE, though this obviously doesn't make what happened any easier to accept. Fans also need to stop believing the conspiracy that Sullivan was involved, as the police investigated him and he was cleared of being involved. Now aged 27, David told Chris Van Vliet that he had stopped watching wrestling until AEW came along, and though he would watch the WWE matches of his good friends Natalya and Chris Jericho, David said his love for WWE was gone, claiming, "They weren't producing good things anymore. I saw the quality was going down, 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 down." That was until AEW came along and sparked a fire in David to follow in his father's footsteps and become a pro wrestler. David has also said that he wants to compete as Chris Benoit Jr., and has even been in talks with the band Our Lady Peace to use the song Whatever, the same theme that his father used in WWE. David said, "I don't own the rights to his name yet. I have his middle name, I can legally use it and they can't come after me. Yeah, I would wrestle as Chris Benoit Jr., I think it would be cool. I've got the tights with the claw." Obviously, he needs to get some reps in the ring, and using his father's name after the tragedy may not go down well with management. With that said, David doesn't expect to fill his father's shoes, as he said that people expect him to perform like his dad, although admitted those shoes are impossible to fill. David also said he has ring gear made, claiming, "It looks like my dad's. I got one in white, one in blue. Gear's ready to go." When asked, David said he'd want to use a technical style like his father, but when asked about headbutts, the Canadian said he wouldn't be doing as many of those. His view of WWE seems to have mellowed in the past few years, as David stops by WWE events when they tour the area and can often be seen backstage at Canadian shows, though there was a time when he was banned. During AEW All Out Weekend, Benoit was a guest of Chris Jericho and snapped a picture with AEW president Tony Khan that quickly went viral. David said that this image caused him to be temporarily banned from WWE until he made a few phone calls. He said, "Yep, it blows my mind, bro. I had to make a few phone calls. I was trying to talk to someone and they never got back to me for a good 4 to 5 months. Everything's fine now. I talked to the lawyer and then I talked to Mark Carano. I'm welcome everywhere now. We're good. Problem solved." WWE must consider AEW pretty serious competition if they're willing to ban Chris Benoit's son because he was backstage at an AEW show, and later on, David revealed that he went to another WWE event in an AEW sweater, and said everyone thought it was bought by Jericho as a rib. It's clear that David is a huge fan of AEW, as he didn't watch wrestling until the company came along, and though he has quite a way to go, could find himself as part of the roster. With that said, the final actions of David's father continue to loom over the entire wrestling world, and though fans shouldn't think of Chris's horrific deeds when we think of David, that is often easier said than done. On to some WWE news, and Triple H recently found himself in hot water after a comment he made about WWE personality Paige. During an interview with several journalists, the Game was asked about the chances of retired stars like Paige and Edge returning, and made a joke that Paige has children she doesn't know about, implying that the former NXT Women's Champion sleeps around. After a traumatic few years that has seen Paige the victim of private photos being stolen and leaked, many people didn't take the WWE COO's dig at the British star as funny, including Paige's boyfriend, Ronnie Radke. In a tweet, Radke said that WWE should be both embarrassed and ashamed for letting Triple H mock the personal trauma of one of their stars, and though Ronnie admitted to being biased on the matter, said that he hated watching Paige cry over what Triple H said. Ending his tweet with the question, "Hasn't she been through enough?" neither Triple H nor WWE have commented publicly on the matter, and we'll have to see how things go from here. More news from WWE's women's division now, as Liv Morgan didn't lead Rusev to the ring this week for his match with Bobby Lashley, but she did make an appearance. During the match, Morgan confronted Lana at ringside, leading the ravishing Russian to toss a cup of soda over her alleged former lover. On Twitter, the former Riot Squad member said that Lana had ruined soda for her, but now we know the identity of the woman who had her drink snatched. According to reports, indie manager Nikki Campbell was the victim of Grand Theft Soda, as the local competitor Twitter account confirmed the news thanks to Campbell's boyfriend Austin Tyler Morris. It's a good thing that WWE has a wide array of beverages in their catering department, but as Morgan continues to grow as a personality on TV, we don't think she'll have much time for catering anyway. Another superstar who didn't have a great time on Raw this week was R-Truth, as after being broken by WWE Champion Brock Lesnar, Truth lost the 24/7 championship to Mojo Rawley. Recently, though, the rapping superstar spoke to Sam Roberts on the Not Sam Wrestling podcast and spoke about an interview he received for a new movie, which nearly saw Blade star Wesley Snipes capturing the title that must be defended at all times. He said, "Fox got me into interview for the new movie Dolomite's My Name. I got a chance to interview Eddie Murphy, Michael Keegan-Key, Wesley Snipes, and these people, man, were wanting to come to the show that night. Wesley Snipes was talking about becoming the first actor to become 24/7 champion." He added, "Man, Wesley Snipes had his hand on his chin while I was interviewing him, and he was still contemplating on what do I have on my schedule tonight, because I think I'm going to go to the Staples Center and try to win this title. That would have been great, man." Obviously, Snipes' title win never occurred, though there have been plenty of non-wrestlers who have held the gold. The list of non-wrestler champions includes Boston Celtics star Ennis Katner, DJ Marshmello, and even Santa Claus. And with Mojo Rawley the latest champion, who knows who will hold the gold next? And finally, we're ending with some news from WWE's Performance Center, as the WWE roster has grown by 6 new stars, but only 2 names out of the list aren't crossover athletes. Jake Atlas and Mercedes Martinez will officially start with this newest class of recruits, alongside Emily Anzulis from the Titan Games, who we previously reported on. Former NFL player Anthony Francis and college basketball star Zechariah Smith will also be a part of the class, while Cirque du Soleil performer Sydney Bateman rounds off this first class of 2020. It'll be interesting to see how far their careers go in WWE, but the company must have seen something in them already for the 6 to have made it this far.